Hello and welcome to Boatrek Live. A very exciting edition today. It's the penultimate episode of Star Trek Picard that we will be discussing today. And I'm joined by Ken and Marcelo. Guys, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure, PJ, as always.
And let's jump right into it.
Ooh, what a jump. Love it.
So the second last episode of the series ever. And
Yeah.
it's leading up to what's happening with Jack, what's going to happen on Frontier Day. A lot of big reveals in this episode. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say a lot of people called out the big reveal. I thought it was much too obvious. It might be something else. But, of course, spoilers, people. We're going to get into spoilers. Just a warning, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, because you should watch it. You should really watch it, if you're a TNG fan especially. But they do the Borg again. It's about the Borg. This time it was the Borg teamed up with the Changelings to assimilate the fleet. And Jack is the key to it, because we know now that Jack's mystery's been revealed, and we find out what was behind the red door, and that was, of course, a Borg cube. And it's all connected to when Picard was assimilated by the Borg, became Locutus. They did something with his brain where they implanted some kind of organic Borg DNA, something that couldn't be detected. It was passed on to Jack. It lay dormant in Jack for a number of years. It's activating now, and it's been activating throughout the whole season. So that's the reason he's being called to by the Borg Queen, played by Alice Krieg. Alice Krieg. That's how
The best Borg Queen.
Yeah. Yes. We don't see her face though. They probably want to save it for like the expensive CGI job that they have to do on her, because she is an elderly woman at this point, and recently she was in a show with Malcolm McDowell called Son of a Critch. So they were both in an episode of that show together, and I was thinking, wow. We'll never see her again as the Borg Queen. I also thought we would never see the TNG cast reunited again. And I never thought, spoilers people, that we would ever see the Enterprise D and the crew of the TNG cast on that bridge. Although it had been leaked that they had built the set, I thought I just couldn't fathom it.
PJ,
And it was just so surreal.
Sorry. I'm so sorry, but I have a family emergency to go, so I gotta kick out early. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, wait, Marcelo.
Hope everything
Take
is
care of
okay.
yourself.
Okay. Take care, guys. Have a great stream, and don't worry, I'll be alright. I just have something I gotta take care of. Okay.
Okay.
Yep, family first.
Yes.
All right, guys. Have a
Let us
great
know.
All
stream,
right,
guys.
catch you later.
Thanks.
So, something was resurrected from Viridian 3, but not what I was hoping for.
It
That's
wasn't
for
Kirk. It wasn't
Yeah.
Kirk. It was the saucer section.
Yeah.
Oh, Father, says hi. How's it going, Father?
Hey, Fatherly. Hey, Cake is Eternal.
Did you call him Fatherly?
Is that what I said? Fathery. Sorry, Fatherly. Oh, wait, sorry about that.
Cake is Eternal is here. Thank you for being
Yeah.
here, folks. And let us know in the chat what you thought of this episode. What was your favorite part?
Yeah. So yes, so the Enterprise D. Bigger.
Were you disappointed with the reveal of the Borg?
Well, so I thought, I was kind of hoping that they would do something a little bit different. There's this great Simpsons take up of Star Trek from many seasons back, where Captain Kirk goes again with the Klingons, and I thought to myself, again with the Borg, but they did enough of a spin on it with this whole biological assimilation thing that I thought it was okay. But yes, there were definitely very predictable things. I knew that there was going to ultimately be the Borg. I know that I was talking about Red Jack, and I was hoping that they were going to do Red Jack, and that, but I knew that was way too deep of a cut for them to go for, although things did line up. Just had a theory that happens to line up with the facts. But anyway, and then the Enterprise D, was very predictable too. Even when he's, all the way back when they said, here's what we've got in Hangar 12, and they're like, no, shh. Like, of course it's the Enterprise D. What I didn't think was that it was actually going to be. I thought it was going to be a Galaxy class ship. I didn't realize that it was actually going to be the Enterprise D, which beautifully done.
Is the neck a little longer, or is that just me? I know it's a different body. It's not like the saucer section is the only true part of the ship that remains.
Right. It does look in that shot. It looks definitely a little longer. Looks a little bit different. That's true. You're right about that.
So the Jack mystery that they dragged out,
yeah,
people were getting annoyed, including me and other people. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people were like, come on. And you kind of understand now why they saved it for almost the very end, I guess. When the reveal happened and Troy goes back to Picard and Beverly and says, they show this is what she saw. I rolled my eyes. I said, oh, okay. I didn't think the first 10 minutes or so, I wasn't totally on board with the episode. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be any good, quite frankly. But here's what happened. Picard's like, that's impossible. Like, Beverly and Picard are asking the questions that I'm asking in my head, and that's perfect. And then as more and more things are explained, I'm like, yeah, okay, it works. This reminds me of how they would talk out a problem in TNG. It's like everything's being explained. The transporter stuff is being explained. That the changelings have been incorporating Borg DNA into the transporter systems in order to assimilate all these crew members. But here's the thing: only the young ones. So it's like it's created this young versus old thing. And when the crew on the Titan's bridge get assimilated, and I was like, this is very familiar. It's the Borg again, but I can't argue that it's the best thing that they've done with the Borg in Picard as a series.
Yes.
What they did in season 1 wasn't that interesting, and season 2 was even less interesting. But when Jack's like, I'll go to the Queen, their Queen, and Beverly's like, no, no. It's like, of course you would. And he goes, and he meets his other mother, I guess, in the Borg.
Yeah,
that was. It was like predictable but unexpected. Like I didn't think they would go to these places. As like even when he mentioned like I'm gonna go to their Queen, I'm like, yeah, or is he really gonna go there and they're gonna show a Borg Queen? And I honestly didn't know who was gonna play, but when he talks about like I thought it was my mother's voice, but it was. And you actually hear Alice Krieg for the first time before you ever see her. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what she's going to look like. But you only see the back of her. So yeah, it's a lot of nostalgia, but it's working. The mystery is satisfying to me, even though when it was revealed, I was like, I don't know about this. But as the episode went on, I'm like, this is juicy, good stuff. Especially when Geordi is worried about his daughter. And he goes and Data's like, no, we need to have a plan. I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome. But anyway, go ahead.
Great scene. So you had said the last few weeks, I am sick. I'm sort of paraphrasing you. I don't care about Jack. I'm sick and tired of Jack. I'm done with Jack. So has this got you back? Has this grabbed you back now?
Yeah, because it, and other people have pointed this out too. Sometimes with mysteries, the longer something is dragged out, and if they do it to the last minute, a lot of times, especially if some parts of Discovery are like that, where it's like, oh, it's dragged out so long, and the anticipation for what it is so disappointing. You kind of like, that's the expectations. Like, whatever this thing with Jack is, it's probably gonna suck, and that's just like a pessimistic kind of view of things.
Right.
But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know the Frontier Day stuff is going to be big and bombastic and satisfying and stuff. But it turns out that the Jack mystery has a satisfying reveal. It ties everything back to TNG, Best of Both Worlds. I mean, you have Shelby there even.
What'd you think about her? What'd you think about seeing her come back?
She was good. although she said the journey of the NX-1 Enterprise led to the creation of Starfleet, she meant to probably say the Federation, because Starfleet already existed. But as far as I know, yeah.
I am pretty sure that Enterprise referred to themselves as Starfleet. They didn't refer to themselves as, the Federation wasn't there yet, but I'm almost positive that they many times Archer said Starfleet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right about that. I thought that the Borg stuff, and I was a little bit concerned. Here we go again with the Borg. I also thought it was a little bit strange that Beverly said we haven't heard from the Borg in a decade, and I guess they tie back to when Shaw said in 10 Forward, which we again did not see this week. 10 Forward was all that strange, crazy stuff on the Stargazer. The real Borg are still out there. It's sort of like somewhat of a dismissal of what happened, timey-wimey Borg stuff in season 2, and they're not really referring to the real Borg, and that's why Beverly said they haven't been heard from in a decade. Of course, Beverly's been gone out of the picture for 2 decades, so she must have just been keeping track of things. I thought the Shelby reveal was really cool. I thought the Enterprise F was an awesome design. I think it's an Odyssey class from Star Trek Online, if I read correctly, which is really cool.
I think so.
Yeah. And so many Easter eggs. Again, so many Easter eggs, which is just really wonderful.
Just in the name of the ships in the fleet that you show. Like, there's a Sulu one. There's a... it's one of those things I have to go back and really look or find out. Jorg on Twitter, he points all that stuff out.
Yeah. They had a lot of names after the creators. Different, they had the Okuda, they had the Drexler, they had a lot of different names. They have never had a Roddenberry, though, that I could tell, which is interesting. I guess that's 2-2 Insider. They had, of course, the Hikaru Sulu. They had the Excelsior. They had the Reliant. They had so many callbacks. They had Riker's ship from season 1 that he was on at the end of season 1.
That's not the Pegasus, is it? No. I forget the name of it, but it's the one where he says, "I'm in the strongest ship of the fleet, and I have so many of them behind me." So Admiral, season 1 of Picard. Okay. Yeah.
Season 1 of Picard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was that one there, and I thought overall this episode, again, I was a little worried. I'm like, okay, here's the Borg again, but the biological stuff. I mean, really, the summary of this entire season is going to be, Dr. McCoy was right about those transporters. That's like the summary statement of the whole thing. It was a good episode. Of course, it was super emotional. They again did some shortcuts. Seven and Rafi had some great moments. Again, Todd Stashwick, incredible, I think, as Captain Shaw. Is this the end of Captain Shaw? It seems like it is, and that's kind of a shame. But finally him uttering 7 of 9 was and everyone was waiting for that.
Yeah, and it's like when he, as soon as he got shot, I'm like, oh, this is why they were saving his saying 7 of 9 for the very end, because even in the last episode, Commander Hansen, she's like, my name is 7 of 9, and he's like, whatever, bruh.
You're right. But yeah, so I thought his scene, his death scene, was given a little bit of short shrift. I thought it was very emotional, but it's like, you look at the arc of the character, and everyone was hoping that there would be seeing this guy going on, be into a Star Trek legacy, but they had to get it so that only the Next Generation cast ended up on the Enterprise D, right? So you've got Rafi and 7 left behind on the Titan. You've now got Jack with all of the plugins with the Borg Queen. So now they've got it set up, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's the Enterprise D. That's awesome. How in the heck is the Enterprise D, even though it is the Enterprise D, gonna win the day, right? I mean, what is that gonna look like now? It's great, it's nostalgic, but it's this one 30-year-old ship now up against the entire armada. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But it was a beautiful reveal. It was so incredibly nostalgic. But we'll see. They've set up quite the finale here.
So that's what it looked like back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when they go on there and the lights are coming up, I'm like, is this gonna kind of look retro? And it doesn't. It looks pretty good. I mean, I was surprised at how much they lit the set, because when the lights were coming up, it was very slow, and I'm like, well, more, please. Get past Generations lighting, get back up to the TV lighting. And when they did it, I was like surprised that it worked so well. I was like, God damn, like this looks really good on modern television. It's surprising. And you know, they make the joke about the carpet and everything, which I loved. It's surreal. It's just so surreal seeing them all there. It's crazy.
And what was interesting is that I believe the reason that they destroyed the D in Generations and moved on to the E, I remember reading stories about the fact that they felt that the D model would not work well on the big screen. And so they had to move it forward to another model. I always thought the D model, when it did that reveal in Generations, when you first see it approaching the star station in Generations, I always thought it was beautiful. I think seeing it now, whatever is going to happen next week, I think it works really well on, now we're in 4K, in the world of 4K. I think it looks fantastic. The first time we ever saw it like that was the much maligned finale of Star Trek Enterprise, right? So
yeah. And the 10 forward looked okay, but there was a hallway. Yeah. I think Terry Metalis is actually in this shot where he's coming off a turbo lift, and the turbo lift, the interior doesn't look right. But this Enterprise D bridge looks just. I couldn't see any difference between that and how it looked in season 7. Now the Generations, they added some stuff on the sides. They put a little flare into it. They don't even do that here. It was like, no, we're going back to the way it looked before Generations. And dude, oh my god, the way the consoles light up, because back in the day, they're just panels that aren't animated at all. It's you assume like things are changing on the screen. Sometimes they do visual effect shots, but they're not like real monitors that they play things on.
Right.
They ended up using LED or like more advanced, non-tubular kind of screens in the future. That never looked right either. But the way this looks, it's like, yeah, that's the way it always was. Like it like when they would, it was so perfect. The L-car, like I know it's like it's just trip down memory lane and it's all those things that people talk about, nostalgia and all this, but when done well and incorporated into the story, they need an older ship to go out and do their thing. Geordi just happened to be working on the Enterprise D restoration for the last 20 years. So
it would take that long.
This is his. Go
ahead.
This is his baby. Yeah, it's like, and it's like fully loaded. It's ready to go. I suspected we would see other ships go into the battle. I think all like Defiant and all those other ships we saw in episode 6. I don't see how they're gonna be incorporated. I think it's just gonna be the climax is gonna be the TNG crew on the fucking Enterprise D doing their
taking out the fleet.
I never thought I'd see it. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And I just want to say that I love the scene with Data when he goes in to comfort Picard after Jack has gone off.
Yeah.
He's like, would you like me to say something comforting? He's like, that would be impossible, Data. And he's like, he puts his hand on his shoulder and he does it. That's gold. Those are nice human touches, dare I say, because Data's not like actually human. But He's more human now than he's ever been. And when they get off the Titan, and Geordi and Data are in the shuttle, and Geordi tells Data to be more positive. And
Yeah.
I took somebody captioned this on Twitter. It's the only line in Star Trek Picard where I actually laughed out loud at a deliberate joke and not an unintentional one.
The one
And it's so I hope we die quickly. And the way Spiner plays that line is beautiful. And this is one for the ages, I think, this episode. It's definitely the best episode of the season. I watched it 3 times today, and I don't do that usually. Technically, I watched it 3.5 times because I watched the last bit. Like 1 or 2 times I kind of skipped over after Jack left just to get to the juicy kind of stuff. Because, the Troy reveal, and then there's a big long conversation with him and Picard, which is important to the episode. But on rewatch, I'm like, yeah, skip over that. I know, yeah. He's the explain-o-vision kind of stuff, the exposition in this episode. It's like, all right, I don't need to really watch that on the I'm literally just rewatching the Enterprise just to get to the Enterprise D stuff again quicker, basically is what I'm saying. I know it's pathetic.
Well, so it's interesting because, when I think about the nostalgia, for me, because I'm a TOS fan more than a Next Generation fan, the scene when Jack and Seven are looking at the ships at the museum, the Defiant all the way to the Voyager, to me, I could watch that scene 1,000 times more so than, while this bit where the Enterprise D comes back is awesome, the scene where they're going through Kirk's Enterprise and the Bounty, that to me, and playing the musical stings, that to me is still the most nostalgic element so far of this season. The other thing I want to say is when it comes to Data and Geordi, while that scene where he says, "I hope we die quickly," is amazing, to me the most amazing scene is when Data stops Geordi from going after his daughters. And that scene where you see a very different Data lore, whatever you want to call it, and you could see the emotions there. No, stop. That's very, very different and new in the kind of character we have now with Data, which is just so much more interesting to me.
And it is more interesting than it just being old school Data who can like turn his emotion chip on and off like in First Contact.
Right.
This is like he's an emotional Data, and Geordi is not obviously he's not thinking straight. Both of his daughters have just been assimilated. Like he's not rational. He needed that person there to stop him, and of course it's Data, and of course it works so well. And it's so emotional. He's like, no, we need a plan. He's like, what are you gonna do? Like that, I love that. It's like the way Spiner says, he's like, what are you gonna do, man? You need a plan. And it's like so good, and Worf and all the exposition with Worf and Geordi when they're all in that room explaining what's going on with Jack and the transporters and all that. As Cake pointed out earlier, I didn't really find the robot is right remark that Seven makes to
Data.
Yeah. It's like, that's not funny. I mean, Data's a legend. Maybe she said if the android is right, maybe. But robot is it's so simple.
And Data's look, I mean, it's a little bit weird. It was a little bit of a weird comment. But it's also telling that, here's 7 of 9, who's a beloved legacy character, but didn't grow up with the Next Generation crew, right? So by her saying the robot is right, I think helps. It's a little bit of a weird comment, for sure, but it also sort of helps step aside the fact that here's a legacy character that's not part of the Next Generation cast. I also want to say, looking at the chats, I want to acknowledge Joanne's comments that there are things I can understand that are wrong or not, not the best in this episode. And a lot of people have been talking about the glory of this episode. There are some challenges with this episode. I think that this episode really, from an action adventure standpoint, does a good job. But if you think about the fact that these characters are, are they killing the young Starfleet assimilated people? Are they stunning them? Are they killing them? You see this whole big big thing where
Picard says to Shaw on the
does he
bridge.
say stun?
He says stun them.
Okay.
But there is one crew member when they're on the turbo lift when the doors open, and he's coming at them. They seem to be blasting holes in him, so it's unclear. I think it's like clearly a lot of people are going to die anyway. I mean, surely.
There was this argument back in First Contact, right? The big moment in First Contact where Picard kills a crewman who's being assimilated, and that has always been a big debate among lots of fans as to was that the right thing to do or not, because you can rescue people who have been assimilated, like Picard, like Seven of Nine. And so now here you have all of these crew members. And now you have the fleet. I mean, lots and lots of people are getting killed. The older crew members. The Excelsior is destroyed. Shelby seems to be dead. You've got lots of people who are older than 25 years old being killed, and they're about to take out space dock. So there's a lot of death and destruction.
I guess the Borg doesn't trust anyone over 30. Oh, no, but this is a young versus old thing. That I find that dynamic pretty cool too. It's like the older folks aren't getting it. It doesn't affect them. But it is dark. It is very like, okay, when you're talking about First Contact, when he kills that first dude early on, you're like, holy shit. Like this, as an audience member, you're like, this must be really bad. Then that Picard's gonna kill a crew member like that. But then you start to realize he's lost his objectivity, and Lilith keeps pointing at telling him like when he kills Ensign Lynch in the holodeck to get the thing out of him. She's kind of shocked. She's like, you just killed a crew member. You didn't try to save him. Like, she's just. From this outside point of view, she sees him as like a little unhinged. And of course that leads to this climax where he's like, the line must be drawn here, I will make them pay. And then he breaks his little ships. And then he realizes, oh my God, I fucking lost it. And since then he's especially in season 1, which I think he would have known anyway, but in season 1 of Picard, when he sees the reclamation project, he's like, oh, I didn't know it could be, they could be rehabilitated to this extent. I'm like, yeah, dude, you kind of did, because you were, other people were, a lot of the Voyager crew were. So, like, this isn't news. Like, you shouldn't be, like, getting on the Borg ships like, wow, this is amazing. It's like, no, this is long overdue, really. But anyway. And then you could chalk it up to his aromatic and syndrome symptoms or whatever it was in season 1. But he's like, the Borg metastasize. They don't change. And I'm like, I don't think you get it. You don't seem to be the same Picard. That's why I think some people complained about like why Picard was weird in the early seasons. I think one of the reasons was because he was so traumatized by, for one, when he goes on the Borg ship for the first time, he's having a panic attack. I'm like, dude, in Descent, you were surrounded by like 50 of these guys, and you looked fine. You were in much desperate situations in the past, and you weren't this like messed up about it. But anyway, I think at this point now, when he's telling Shaw to stun them, like he understands that like even though they're assimilated, they can come back from it. And I hope they're not killing. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's dark. It's it's a challenging
dark.
kind of issue.
It's dark, and so now you have this whole situation where all of Starfleet, all of the younger Starfleet 25, or they don't have to be 25 or younger. They just have to have been in the transporter when they were 25. So they could be older than 20. They could be probably like 26, 27, depending on how long the changelings have been infiltrating transporter technology. They could probably be up to 30 or whatever. But so now you've got a situation with, I'm worried about Elnor. I'm worried about Kestra. I'm worried about, all of these characters.
Yes.
That they just, you don't know what's happening. Elnor was on the Excelsior last we heard, and the Excelsior got destroyed. So, what's up with that? Did we just lose Elnor? Or do they even care? I mean, I think part of the challenge with what Terry Matalas is doing, and I think he's doing a great job, is that he's basically focusing on this storyline. And this is an incredibly dark situation, right? And here you have some great character moments. Like, this is the first time I really recall, except for Family, the episode Family, where Picard is really stating what he says. I almost killed everybody that I loved. He's spouting anger, and he repeats some of the phrases that he said to his brother. You can't know. You couldn't know. Very much what he said with Robert at Chateau Picard. Some similar beats there.
Yeah.
So you have Picard really, really angry, and then you have Starfleet protocol means I have to care more about everyone else and not my son, right? So the question there is, does that make sense? That now basically Picard is saying, and I think Jack is right to say, did you ever have any father in you? What about the father protocols? So, it's a good point. Are all of these characters that we've known for so long in character in this episode? And for most of the cases, I would say yes. I think, but I think that there's a little bit with Picard. I think there's a little bit with Beverly. That's a little bit out of character. I think that you've got some great things happening, some great moments happening. I love 7 of 9. I don't think Jerry Ryan has made a misstep this entire series, nor has Michelle Hurd with Rafi. I think when 7 of 9 was in pain, when that Borg message was coming through, I thought that she was going to succumb, and she obviously didn't. But and when 7 of 9 took the guy out on the bridge with the phaser, Jerry Ryan has been killing it, no pun intended, this season, and this episode notwithstanding. I mean,
when she stops that person from shooting Riker, and she that's good.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm sort of all over the place, but
I think in regards to Beverly and Picard, they're in a desperate situation that they've never encountered before, and even in the I think it's episode 7, where they're debating executing Vatic, they question their own actions and like
ethics.
This is ethics and stuff like that. And so even with even the way Beverly reacts to Jack going, and for one thing, when Jack takes over those two, after Jack has the conversation with Picard, he takes over the two guards, and the two guards point the phasers at Picard. I love Picard's reaction. He's not like, oh no, he's like, what is this? What are you doing, Jack? Like, and basically Jack tells both Picard and Beverly before he leaves, I'm going to go there and show her who I am. And then when he goes there expecting to kill her, he's like, this is what I consider an act of mercy. I'm like putting you down. And he can't do it. And then he succumbs. You think it's over. I think that's the next step in Jack's plan. Okay, I can't kill her. I'll let myself become assimilated and then work from the inside kind of thing. So
Which is what Janeway did in Voyager, in the finale of Voyager. Yeah.
yeah,
Which, by the way, where the hell is Catherine Janeway right now?
she's not gonna be there.
No, but I mean, what's happening with her? I mean, that's the other
Oh.
thing. You've got all of these legacy characters. You know, they've said Janeway is like high up in Starfleet. So if everyone who is 30 or younger, whether they're on the starships or not, if they've been in a transporter beam, what's happening to them?
You would think that now that the reveal of the older folks are probably okay in terms
Or
of
being
not being
killed. Yeah.
or being killed by their younger counterparts.
Yeah.
You would think it would be the perfect opportunity for the finale episode, which is like I think an hour and 15 or 20 minutes. It's more than an hour anyway, so it's kind of feature length. So it would give you an opportunity to say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would love for the Enterprise D to meet up with a few other folks, whoever they may be, that are of a certain age. That we Harry Kim, Paris, B'Elanna, Nerys. Oh my God, Nerys.
Well,
I would lose my mind.
If you found out, if Kira Nerys found out that the changelings were infiltrating Starfleet, do you think that she'd be just twiddling her thumbs on Deep Space Nine?
No, she wouldn't.
No.
And you know what? I don't want to get my expectations too high because of the bottle nature of this season. I know it's leading to a big climax. It's probably going to cost the most money out of any other episode. But the wish of like, we need more legacy characters in this big finale. I wouldn't put it past them because I didn't expect to see Ro. I didn't expect to see Shelby. I didn't expect to see Tuvok. It would be very satisfying to see the real Tuvok meet up with these guys in the next episode. So you have Worf, Tuvok, Seven, Picard. You have all those, like a little extra addition to the ensemble just for the last episode.
Tim Russ did say he's in 2 episodes. So he's got to be in number 10 now.
Thank goodness.
So whatever happens there.
Did he say that on the Ready Room?
He said that in a tweet. I don't know if he said it on the Ready Room, but in a tweet he said that, now the cat's out of the bag, I'm in 2 episodes of Picard. And we've only seen him in the 1 so far.
Cake said if Elandra is connected to the collective, the Borg should be expecting the Enterprise D.
That's true.
Ro. What is Ro? Oh, it's Scooby-Doo's
Scooby-Doo. Ruh-roh. Actually, it's not Scooby-Doo. It's what's the name of the Jetsons dog?
Oh, it's the Jetsons dog.
What's the Jetsons dog?
I thought it was Scooby-Doo. I don't know. Joanne says, I wanted them to shave. I was going to say, I wanted them to shave.
I wanted to shave Shelby.
I wanted them to shave her head. No. I wanted them to shave... God damn it.
Save Shelby and beam her over with the Enterprise crew. One last rendezvous with the Borg tactical team.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk because I'm obsessed with shaving.
Yeah.
Which I haven't done. Yeah, that would be great. Jill's here. Thank you for being here, Jill.
Hi, Jill. Hi, everybody. In fact, such a good audience here.
We're winding down to the end of this discussion because Starfleet Boys discussion is coming up in 13 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So let's give our final thoughts, and I kind of gave my hopes and predictions for the next episode, but I don't give ratings here. But I just wanted to if you were to weigh the good against the bad, what numerical score out of 10 would you give this?
So, I would probably give this an 8.5 or a 9. I don't think I'd give it a 10. 10 is very, very hard. And I actually have something for all of us to think about because I got into a conversation with my brother. He texted me and he said, "This is the best season of Star Trek ever." And I'm like, there's a challenge because the original series season 2, in my humble opinion, is the best season of Star Trek ever still. But yeah, I would say 8.5 or a 9 out of 10.
Hey guys,
I would give it a 9. Thank you for being. Are you everything good?
Yes, yes. I just had a little family emergency, but everybody's okay.
Well, that's
Thank you for
good.
asking. But I just want to give my really quick thoughts about this episode. Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
I felt really bad because I didn't want it to be the Borg. I really liked a theory that a friend of mine had. That was an
Reject.
amazing, yes, that was an amazing theory, and I whole and the second that
And that was the Red
Deanna,
Jack theory, right?
yes, that was the Red
Okay.
Jack theory, and the
Ooh,
second
I'm
that
your friend.
Deanna, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, my friend is smart. He's intelligent.
Hmm.
So I I really didn't like that they went down the Borg angle, but that is consistent with what Picard the series has been so far. It's been heavily influenced by John Luke's connection with the Borg. Every season has something to do with the Borg. So I do like that. I do like that symmetry. I think that's amazing. Um, I really liked how they kind of made the Borg organic, and how the Borg merged with the changeling species. I thought that was really cool. So in summation, I wasn't happy with with Terry's decision to go to the Borg again, but I really like what he did with it.
I felt like the same way when the reveal happened. We're like, ah, okay, sure. And then it was like, all right, well, you did it well. So it's the best
Yeah,
iteration of the Borg in Picard as a series. So
yeah.
at least they're doing that. But what did you think of the Enterprise
Uh,
D stuff?
oh, well, when they when they decided to evacuate the Titan because they had to, because if they didn't, they would all be dead. And look, everybody who's been paying attention the entire season absolutely knew where they were going. But the second that the TNG crew came up to the door 12 and it started opening, I was like, oh my god, here it comes. And when it showed up, I just started crying, whooping, hollering. It was for me because I live on the East Coast. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, so I was trying to not. I was trying to cry as quietly as I could because I had some. Look, I know it's all member berries, but I loved every second of it. I absolutely did. The only thing, and this is gonna sound so stupid, because I'm actually rewatching TNG right now. Um, the only thing, when they stepped onto the bridge, I was like, the chairs don't look quite right. They look a little bit smaller, and the carpet's the wrong color. But I
Oh
go,
my.
you idiot! Just enjoy what you have.
There
Riker
you
does
go.
make that remark where he says, "Have I gotten bigger? Or does this bridge look smaller?" And it's like, no,
Yeah, right,
it's just the wide. I felt it was like the wider screen kind of made
right.
it look a bit small, but it's still it
Hmm.
looks so good in the modern
Yeah.
with
Uh-huh.
the modern cameras and the fact that they lit it properly.
Oh
They
yes, that's
fully
right.
lit the motherfuckers. Sorry, pardon my
Yeah, that's
French.
cool.
Uh,
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
This 16 by 9, right? This is the first really widescreen television we've seen of the Enterprise D
well, it's
bridge.
not well more than 16 by it's wide.
Really wide. Yeah.
cinemascope kind of thing.
hmm.
Right.
All right, guys.
um. Oh,
That'll.
I have.
Oh wait, one more thing. Go ahead.
Sorry, sorry. I just want to have one more thing. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I really like how they sort of kind of redeemed someone who is really mean and sort of unredeemable in Shaw. I
Yeah.
thought they gave him. I I thought they gave him a hero's death. I'm not. Listen, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure if he deserved it because of the individual that he was and because of his treatment of Seven. But with that being said, I did appreciate that in his final moments, he finally said Seven of Nine instead of calling her Hanson. I really appreciated that.
It's a bittersweet
Um,
moment. Yeah, it's
yeah, I mean, to quote a great engineer, it almost brought a tear to it almost brought a tear to my eye. So, so, you know,
uh,
Yes, a great
yeah,
engineer, Scotty. Brought a
yeah,
tear to
great
my eye.
engineer. Yeah,
Yeah.
great engineer.
all right, guys. Uh, join Starfleet Boys discussion, which is happening live right after this, or watch it on the replay. And I want to thank you guys again, Ken and Marcelo, for joining me.
Thank you.
And
Thank
thank
you,
you
PJ.
to the chat for being here as well. And
Absolutely.
until next
PJ,
time,
you do a
folks,
great show. You do a great
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I do. And I definitely appreciate the chat and the engagement. I mean, it makes these discussions all that more interesting and fun to do. And a couple more comments. Man, we got the most viewers at the very end of this. Cakes,
We'll have to do it again.
Jill says it would be obvious that Shaw kept disnaming so that he could stop doing it when it counted. Yeah, they were saving it for the deaths, right? The death moment.
Yeah.
Cake says thanks to everyone. Okay, folks. Until next time, live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.